Why do I read every book? Because I want to, because there are writers who have spent the time putting this information out there. Why would I? Here's a better question. Would you go to a Michelin three-starred restaurant and only order a glass of water or a simple salad? If you're going to go eat at a Gordon Ramsay restaurant, you're going to order as many things off of the table, off the menu as you can, a 5-course, 7-course meal. You're going to try everything to get your money's worth. Why wouldn't I read books? There are writers who spent time writing this. People, VFX artists who put VFX and things into the animations for turning the pages. You have sound engineers and technicians who did that subtle turning of the page. You have artists who created the actual physical asset, well, not physical, but the 3D asset that went into the game. There are probably 25 to 50 different people who put 100 man hours into this particular book and other books like it being put into the game. Why wouldn't I read the books that enter the game? That's the better question. Why wouldn't I? Lore books are the spice of the game, that's right. Yeah, I know, JK. We're repeating the same thing over and over. But Renfail, why aren't you playing the game like I want you to play the game? Inky Z says, I have all of these and the books in Elder Scrolls Online in print to read. The Elder Scrolls lore is cool. Goddamn right, Inky Z. Elder Scrolls lore is badass. And the fact that someone has taken the time to write all this stuff is why it's worthwhile to go read. Somebody out there put a lot of passion and work into making this kind of stuff work. That's right, Studman. How else are you supposed to get the info you need if you don't read the books? Like, this whole section right here is me. Like, these are the tips to the quest line. Like, I wouldn't know what to do if I wasn't referring back to this book every time we get to a new chamber and trying to figure out what the puzzles are along the way. I said at the beginning of this segment, this reminds me of Indiana Jones on the Last Crusade when Indiana's going through his dad's journal on how to do the tests once he gets to the tomb, right? The path of the penitent man. Like, how the fuck else are you going to know what to do if you didn't read the fucking books? Like, I feel like we're being trolled by idiots this morning just for the purpose of trolls. And I'm okay with that because I'm going to farm you out. I'm going to farm this stuff out on social media, and this will become a long form video as well as a YouTube short. But like, there are so many books in this game. Like, I've got a couple of them right here. We've sold a whole bunch. You can go through and find a whole bunch on bookshelves as well. Some of them are just repeats, but then you'll have like the Lusty Argonian Maid series. You have stuff like the Windhelm Letters, right? Like, this is all deeply immersive lore. I feel like only an idiot would choose to ignore the books. Or you're on your 50th playthrough and you just don't care anymore because you've already seen all this stuff. But this is my first time, so I very much want to see all of this stuff. I want this. I want the lore. I want to be able to find out. Tell me more about the twin secrets. By the way, also getting skill points when you open up the books as well is a really big, cool thing that happens in the Elder Scrolls games. It's like there's an incentive to open up the books beyond just reading them. It's like, oh, you get a skill. There's a chance of there being a skill point for opening up one of these tomes. And I know the meta, like, only the expensive books are worth looking at because those are the ones that offer you the skill points. That's the meta. You're letting the meta talk to you at that point. I do pick up the expensive books because they're worth money to sell, but we do tend to read most of the books we come across, unless I think that it's something I've already seen before, and then I'll ignore it. But yeah, I mean, what idiot goes to a restaurant and orders just a glass of water and ignores everything else on the menu, right? Like, I would say that was probably, no, I don't know what triggered that one. Like, if I'm going to sit down at a fine eatery, I want to experience what that fine eatery has for me to sample across their menu. That's why I came to that restaurant in the first place. I'm playing Skyrim because I want the cool story of what went into this game. And also in the case of the Nightingale Journal in particular, this, why the fuck would I read them off of stream? You know what? Oh, Jesus. Fuck off. Seriously. Fuck off. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, we banned that asshole from Twitch just now. Like, seriously? Read them off. Fuck off. You're just trolling now to be a troll, which means I don't want you here. Um, Definitely still farming this clip out, but we've now, like the cat, we talked about this earlier. I'm like a cat. I'll play with my food for a couple of minutes, but once I bite the head off and I've gotten out of it what I need, I'll bury the corpse. So we just bit his head off. We buried the corpse. He's been banned from our Twitch chat. Um, like literally reading through the journals is part of the experience, especially for this particular quest, because it adds a whole bunch of additional flavor to what was going on. And matter of fact, the NPC even told us that ghost that we talked about, Garrus's ghost, or Gallus is his name, Gallus's ghost was like, hey, read this book to get the tips on how to get through all the chambers and traps in here. So like there's an incentive for a lot of these quests to go read through these books anyway. And finally, for those of you who have been here long term, you know that I love to do voice acting from time to time, just for funsies because we like to role play. And I will often read through books in different voices. Depending on if it's just a couple of pages, I'll do that. If it's something where it's like 7 pages of dialogue, I'm just gonna skim read it and just we'll blow through it just to see what it has. You know, we'll paraphrase a little bit. But on shorter books where it's only 2 or 3 pages, I'm happy to read through those and do voiceovers and stuff because it's fun. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to play the game and have fun. So, yeah, we want to make sure that we read all the books because it has lore. We want to read the books because it's fun. We want to read the books because we get skill points. We want to read the books because it gives us tips on how to get past traps. We want to read books because it gives us additional information into the characters, the quests of whom we are doing, their motivations, their histories, their backstories. There are a lot of reasons to want to read the books that are in the game when you're playing the game. Not rocket science. But I understand there are smooth brains out there who can't handle it. They're like, oh, that's a lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading it because my IQ is 1 and I can't handle big words. Big words make brain hurt. Smash! Smash! Only smash! No words. Words bad. Word make brain hurt. Me no like words. Oh my goodness. I feel like there are legitimately some people in the real world who totally failed their intelligence when they like were rolling stats for their character. Like, I don't know if it's because they were dropped on their heads as children or whatever, but that intelligence stat is like down around somewhere between 1 and 3. For those of you, if you go back far enough, if you don't remember, if you've ever played like the original Baldur's Gate, like I think it was Baldur's Gate 1, maybe even Icewind Dale 1, you could make a character whose intelligence was so low that when you tried to interact with other NPCs in chat, it would just say something like it would literally just be gibberish in the text options where you're selecting your branching dialogue because your character was too stupid to have a conversation. So when that right there, everybody, that interaction that we just had, which we are turning into a YouTube video and a short for Instagram and TikTok and everything. That right there is the perfect example of someone who rolled an intelligence so low when they did their character creation, or they were dropped on their head as a child, that they just it's just grunts and unintelligible gibberish that comes out of their mouth. Oh no. Oh, poor child. Poor child. I'm not I'm not siding with the Imperial or Stormcloaks. Screw both those guys. I'm working with the Thieves Guild. What's the other broadcast? I am live on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and TikTok, so you can watch wherever you prefer. Everything between the streams happens on YouTube, so follow over there for all of the in-between stuffs and all the VODs that get clipped out into playlists because I play a lot of games. This is the day job. We are coming out of the holidays right now. We'll be back to our normal schedule tomorrow, although I still am on reduced hours until I get my prescription glasses in on doctor's orders. I have to keep my streams down around 2 to 3 hours. No more 8-hour streams until I get my glasses in, and then we have some adjustment period. So we're on a new schedule. You can read more about that or learn more about that on the video that's at the top of the YouTube channel when you get there. That's right, JK. If you don't like how Ren streams, leave it. Leave his stream, because this is his stream and he'll do it how he wants. You're goddamn right. Right, Asparagus? I'm dead with the whole read them off stream. That was literally just a troll. That was literally just a troll, which I'm okay with because he just gave me a 9-minute video or a 10-minute video, as well as a clip that we'll be able to farm out on social media. So I'm okay with that. Like, it's free content for me. It's free engagement, and we've got 2 shirts in our merch store that are relevant to this. One says thanks for the free engagement, and the other one is troll tears fuel my retirement. That's a plug for my merch shop. Go pick up yours today. T-shirts, sweaters, coffee mugs, water bottles, all sorts of fun stuff.